Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel here on YouTube, where we've got the TNT takes for you on the Challenge Australia. I'm joined today by the latest evicted or eliminated person from the Challenge Australia, Sugar. Sugar, sad to talk to you so soon, but how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, thank you. I'm doing good. Sad to leave the house and be eliminated from the challenge, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, Sugar, you're a competitor. You have been in the boxing ring for a long time. You hold two different titles, I believe, and are undefeated from what I've been able to sort of gather from my research. What drew you to doing this challenge thing? What made you want to do it?
For me, I just wanted to do something different, get out of my comfort zone. There was money on the line, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to have a good crack at this. I'm quite competitive, and I guess, try and win that money.
Yeah. Did you know what the challenge was prior to going on? Did you have any idea what the show would be about, or did you sort of learn as you went onto it?
No, I didn't. I sort of just watched a little bit before I went onto the show. I was like, okay, how do I win this? What sort of is involved? And then I was like, oh, okay, I don't know how I'm going to go there with like living in the house with strangers. But I was like, I'd be pretty confident in my fitness, in my physical strength, and actually competing in the challenges. But it was like, yeah, okay, let's see how we go living with everyone.
Yeah, and how did it feel living in this house with all these big personalities? Because there were a lot of people that didn't seem to like each other. You seem to be in the middle of it. How did you balance that, and what was your thoughts about that?
It was really strange for me. Like I'm structure, routine. I go to the gym every morning. I've got a pretty nice schedule that I like to follow, and I'm quite like on my own a little bit of the time. So living with everyone and these big personalities, it was like, this is really interesting, and this can get pretty full on. Like, it was quite draining to sort of have to communicate with everyone all the time, and seeing the different personalities of everyone. It's like, you sort of just have to accept everyone for who they are. Like, you can't go anywhere. You're in these houses with all these people, so you either like them or you don't like them. But either way, you're still all living together.
Yeah, you kind of gravitated towards that group of players that were known as the Bedroom Alliance. Grant, Ryan, Johnny. I don't know if Jessica was in there or not, but I know Emily, you were pretty close to her as well. What sort of drew you to working with that side of the house?
I think for me was just because, like, of Emily obviously being another Olympian, so we had a little bit of a connection there. It was, for me, it was more so who I actually vibed with in the house and who I thought that I would get along with. I didn't not get along with anyone in the house. I feel like I could be friends with like everyone in the house, but it happened to be that way, and I wanted just to stick with my crew.
Yeah, and you mentioned you prepared a little bit coming in. You did some wrestling training. Was there any other types of training that you did to prepare yourself coming into the show that we may not be aware of?
I didn't know. That was the only thing that I sort of added in, because when I was watching the US, I was like, wow, there's lots of wrestling sort of challenges, eliminations here. So I need to know how to use my body weight against somebody that's going to be bigger than me. And I feel like in the last episode, it paid off because I was able to use my body weight against M's body weight.
Yes, I mean, I personally compete in karate. I've got a third-degree black belt in karate. I know about weight classes and how important it is to be fighting in your own weight class, because it actually does make a huge difference. So I was extremely impressed by how you were able to get one over Emily in that elimination. How disappointing was it for you to win your own battle, but then ultimately you don't get to go on in the game?
Yeah, it was. For me, it was like, I did my part, and I know what I played my part there. But my partner at the time, he had injury and he couldn't get us over the line, and I can't be upset there because it wasn't me competing. If it was me that lost, then I probably would have been pissed off, because then I can be pissed off at myself.
Yeah. Does this make you feel like you've still got something that you'd like to prove, and you'd love to have another shot at going out on the challenge and doing better if you were to go out there again?
100%. You know, I'm not saying no to a challenge. Like I'll give anything a crack. Like I probably haven't even done something before, but I'll still give it a go, and I'll still try and win, and I'll still try and be good at it.
And what would you do differently in regards to your preparation if you were to go out there again? Where do you feel like you were preparing well, and where do you feel like you could amend your preparation going into another challenge season?
I'm not worried about my fitness or my physical strength. It would be more so puzzles, trivia, spelling, all those things. Like I don't, I'm not. That's not really my area of what I'm good at.
I felt for you when you were in the elimination and you had all those Australian questions. I'm from South Africa
Oh my
originally, so I think
God.
I would have probably not gotten all of them myself either. So I think you can slightly be forgiven. But do you think that if you were out there, you'd be brushing up on your local Australian knowledge a little bit more?
100%, or wherever I'm competing or wherever the challenge is hosted, you know, I'd make sure that I've got some idea around general knowledge.
Now, you had a lot of people that you partnered with that were really strong throughout the show. You had Johnny, Grant, Marley, Conrad, and then Ryan twice. Ryan also won a daily. Is there anybody else out there that you kind of felt like, I wish I had the opportunity to work with them? I would have liked to have seen what our partnership duo would have been like in the game.
Would have been interesting to work with Kieran. He's another boxer that I know from Melbourne before going on to the show. Yeah, would have been interesting because he also was another strong competitor on the show.
Yeah. And out of all the daily challenges that you did, was there one that sort of stood out for you, one that you will look back on fondly, that you participated in it at the end of the show?
It definitely was the swimming one. That was on another level. It was like when we jumped in that water, I feel like everyone would have been in the same position, but it just took your breath away. It was crazy.
Yeah. And going on that challenge, can you give us an idea as to how long that challenge took? Because it's very hard as a viewer to really get an understanding of how long it took to get to the island, go into there and do all these different puzzles and things like that. How much of an endurance challenge was that?
All up, it was actually 2 hours, and I think it worked out to be like maybe a 7-minute swim, but like absolutely freezing. And I think we did about 10 Ks of running in that time.
How long would you have taken on that puzzle that would have been 20 points for you? Do you believe
Oh
that
my
was
God.
ultimately the thing that cost you the game here? Because if it's 2
100%.
hours, it's a long time. I would imagine you could still make up time.
Yeah, so Ryan and I, like before we started the challenge, we were like, look, we're not going for the 20 because it's probably going to be too hard and we're not going to get it. But we fell into the trap of, it was the first one that we could see where we ran into the abandoned area, and we just got caught up there probably for a good 30 minutes, and we're like, you know what, stuff this. So we're just going to start running, seeing what tokens we can get left, and we ended up just grabbing tokens one by one and using our running just to accumulate points.
Why do you think that yourself and Ryan weren't able to, get that win? I mean, like I said, you're a capable competitor. He's a very capable competitor. What do you think was the missing link in your duo not to be able to do a little bit better in these daily challenges or in the elimination?
I think for the daily challenge, it was simply because we made a wrong move on going to the higher value tokens in that last challenge. And then in the elimination, Ryan's had a shoulder injury. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now, you've had a very quiet edit on the show. We've only seen you every now and again on the show. Do you feel like that was an appropriate edit for what you did in the house? Or is there certain things that you wish that the camera showed a little bit more to viewers of the show where they could see you play the game in a different way?
Yeah, no, I think that was an appropriate edit. Like, I wasn't a big personality in the house. I'm pretty cool, calm, and collected. So I wasn't in a lot of the drama, and I feel like TV wants to see drama. And I knew that was going to be the case. I was there to compete, not to sort of be a reality TV star.
Yeah. How likely do you think Grant and Emily going back into that house now have an ability to get back in this game? It does seem like the whole house is against them. Would you back them to be able to pull a few wins out and maybe get some of the Batchy group out of the house?
it's going to be very hard for them to get a win because they do have targets on their back. Depending on who they're sort of partnered up with and how well they can go in winning the next few challenges, they'll have a good crack if they make it to the finals.
And are you surprised by anybody else's edit on the show? Because obviously, while you're in there, it's like a fishbowl. You don't know how other people will react or how they're going to be in the house. Are you surprised by anyone in the show? And do you feel like there are people that maybe the audience is sleeping on a little bit because they're potentially going to be bigger threats down the line?
No, I think it's pretty spot on. I feel like they're missing out on maybe, you know, some of the players that are playing it real smooth, cool, calm, and collected. Like those are the underdogs sort of thing because they have a good social game, and it's important. I've noticed it's really important to have a good social game in the house.
Interesting, very interesting. There's a few players I can think of that sort of fits that mold at the moment that are playing a really good social game. But are you going to be staying in contact with any of these house guests that you went out there? Are you planning on staying friends with them for longer, or is this just business and it's time to move on now after the show?
No, I definitely see myself like staying in contact with Ryan and Emily. You know, touch base with Grant and Johnny here and there down on the track. So we'll I'm just have no hard feelings towards anyone, really.
Yeah. Well, this is your opportunity now, Sugar. If there's anything you would like to make the audience aware of, where can they follow you? What are you up to next? Where can they see more of you, I guess, online?
You can follow me on Sugar Neeks on my Instagram page. I've got a big fight coming up over in America at some point, probably March, April next year. We've got to wait for the clearance of my cut to get back into training and sparring. So yeah, next year is going to be a big year in my boxing career.
Well, all the best. I'll be keeping a close eye on it. I hope you do really well over there and represent for the whānau over in New Zealand. It's been great talking to you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.